Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Bible Bistro. This is Daily Dose Radio. We're serving it up fresh and delicious here, and today we're going to be studying Psalm 75, verses 9 and 10. Now, 9 and 10, we come back to the voice of the Lord here. We've had the worship leader, 6, 7, and 8, and he's pretty much told us God is the judge. Which, once we read that in 7, we realize what a marvelous theme that is throughout this psalm, beginning in 2 and ending in 7. But we're not done yet, because in verse 9, the Lord speaks, and let me read for you 9 and 10. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. That's verses 9 and 10 in Psalm 75. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. You notice here just how this psalm begins in verse 1 with, we give thanks. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks. For that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. And then we have in verse 9, but I will declare forever. So we come back to that idea again. The congregation is declaring their thanksgiving and, by extension, their praise, because the name is being praised. Thy name is near, because thy wondrous works declare it. So they are giving thanks and praising God. Nature and the works of God declare the nearness of His name. And then we have God saying, I will declare forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. So we have the voice of the Lord, and you'll notice here that the voice of the Lord speaking about Himself. This is not new. Remember when the Pharisees or Jesus was speaking to the Pharisees, and He said, tell me this, who was David speaking of when he said, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit here at my right hand? Well, they couldn't answer that question, but we can in hindsight, because we know David was speaking of his son, God's son, Messiah. Well, here we have the same thing. I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. Who's saying that? Well, we know this is first person, so we're back in the Lord's voice. Well, this must be Messiah. Again, we have Messiah speaking clearly. And what's he saying? He's saying he is going to praise the God of Jacob. Well, if it's that important for us to understand that even in the Godhead there is great love and praise for God, ladies and gentlemen, that must inform us and motivate us to be that kind of lover and praiser ourselves. He goes on in verse 10 to say, all the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. Now we go back up to our horns again. I have to go back to verse 4 and to verse 5. And there's where we see the horns previously in this psalm. The wicked, he says, don't lift up your horn. Do not lift up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. So he's giving the wicked advice. Humble yourself. Don't lift your horn up. Don't try to exalt your position and increase your authority, because you don't have any. Not any that's relevant anyhow. And then he says here, the horns of the wicked I'm going to cut off. And maybe this is why he tells them not to lift it up, because he knows in 10, well, it's going to be cut off. So it's better for you to humble yourself before the Lord and under His hand than for you to try to exalt yourself. Let Him do the exalting. You do the humbling, because the horns of the wicked are going to be cut off. He's going to take His judgment, and He's going to level the playing field. The wicked will be cut off, the righteous will be exalted. So the low places will be raised up, the high places will be brought down. Because remember, God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So the horns of the righteous are exalted. Why? Because they've humbled themselves before the Lord. That's exactly why. And we end here in verse 10, knowing that justice and judgment will be done, and God is going to do exactly what He says He's going to do. He's going to put down one and set up another. I hope you'll join me again next week as we look at Psalm 76 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.